don't know what happened in Miami, man.
What did you do? What was your strat that you pulled in Miami? Did you do into soft, or did you just do?
No. I wanted to start mediums, but the second I saw that the rain started coming down and the race hasn't even started, I quickly changed to softs, and I lined up, and then I saw Crack Dev exiting the pits, but the 5 lights were already like going out. And I was like, okay, so they're gonna wait for Crack Dev since he's in the pits. So I stayed while everybody else went on for the race, and I already took like a 7-second gap to P1. And then I don't know what happened. I kept getting like those little bumps that kept like sliding me over left to right, and yeah, just I don't know, just maybe not focused enough, because I kept tapping the walls like crazy. I kept crashing like into the walls. I don't know, man. Just I feel like absolute shit. I know I'm taking a break from PA, and I'm gonna be shit at PA for until AWC comes back on, but I feel horrible.
Do you think P6, P3 will get me through?
Maybe. I think maybe.
Because again, you only get one more point.
If you scored pretty well in stage 1, I think you would kind of.
I was 58th in stage 1.
I think you would still be able to.
In stage 1, I was P9, P8, P3.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I don't know. I'm definitely. I mean,
ideally, you just want to keep on scoring a similar amount of points each round to get through, but there's less drivers to score the same amount of points as you.
I don't know. I don't feel competitive at all. I know I'm not in my competitive form, but it feels shit not to be fast. You know, it feels shit.
Yeah. No, I was just annoyed that in Mexico I was probably in for a P2 or P3, and then after I got bumped, you know the curb at the first right-hander of Sector 3?
Yeah.
The curb bumped me all the way into the wall. Not the outside wall, but the inside
Ferrari
wall.
That went straight into the wall? Were you the Ferrari that went straight into the wall?
Which one? No, I wasn't in your slot. I was in a slot last night.
Oh, okay. I thought you were in my race today in Mexico. Because there was exactly like the first corner in Sector 3. There was a Ferrari that just flew into the wall.
That.
But
it wasn't that.
He did not die somehow.
Yeah, I spun. So basically, got on the outside curb, and after it hit me into the inside wall, basically, not the outside wall where you get out. And then after the next lap, I got flipped because my rear left tire hates me. And after that, I went from like P14 to P6, which is like really good, I think.
No, I think I could have definitely won Mexico if I just did not flip on lap 1.
Yeah.
Because
then after in Czechia,
it was in the Sector 2 S's.
In Czechia, I was challenging for P3. I was challenging for P3 in Czechia. Then I just dropped off just a little bit at the end. I was still in P4. I just dropped off on the very last lap. I got overtaken. But then after, I decided to keep my foot flat through the very last chicane. I went a little bit too wide and got a corner cut, and I dropped down to P6.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe just unlucky, maybe because the break, I don't know.
Yeah, and then after in Miami, Weiss helped me a bit, and I was P3 by like 10 seconds. So P4 was 10 seconds behind me, which... crazy.
I'm just not used to being shit.
Quali starting, what car are you going to use? Or are you just going to commentate?
I don't know.
I'm convinced so that I don't know if I am getting through in the Community Cup. That's the one thing which is annoying.
You don't think you're gonna go to stage 3?
I hope I do. but I don't know if I am. I'm not 100% sure. That's the main thing, because I keep on doing terrible performances. I probably could have been on the podium all of those races, but I keep on just doing stupid mistakes.
Yeah, that was, I think that was me the whole session. Just for the whole 3 races, I was making like mistakes I don't normally do.
The main thing I want to know though is that if I'm in the top 50. So if I'm in the top 50, I'm happy.
Is it the top 50 to pass?
No, top 40.
Top 40, okay.
If I narrowly miss out, and I'm in like number 46, then fine, I'll be happy. Enough. Like, I still want to get through, but you know, it's okay.
I forgot, where am I? I have to check. I'm definitely on page 1, I just don't remember where. 31st, so I'm 31 right now. I should definitely
No, but it's not really representative, because you know Racing and the Yatniel, they were both in the top 10.
Yeah, I don't know, man.
It's because of the groups, and Racing and the Yatniel got into 2 crazy groups where they just dominated. So you have people like Mano, Alf, and Blue Jay barely getting in, and then after you have like Racing between 2 of the best, and the Yatniel both constantly in the top 10.
I need to cut some slack for me, okay. I think I'm too hard on myself. It's the break. It's fine if I mess up. Yeah, the break.
The brick.
The brick.
The brick.
The brick.
Did you buy the Supreme brick?
The Supreme brick? No.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
that's sad. You should eat the Supreme brick. Anyway,
I mean, maybe I haven't been doing well on PA, but I've been doing well on other games, especially Valorant. But that's it. Finally got to Ascendant 2. So
you know what? You know my strat in PA now. Don't practice.
Okay, well, what kind of strat is that? That's exactly what I'm doing right now.
No, I'm not even joking. Last week I practiced and I did really bad in all of my races.
Yeah.
I like in AGP I DNF'd in Silverstone and everything like that. This week I've done no practice at all. I get a better community cup than I did last time. And then after what else as well? Yeah, I was challenging for the win in PATL today. And then after what else? Oh yeah, in pool I was P5. I probably could have been better, but yeah. And then after in AGP, then after I also was P7, which if you ignore the fact that I was like 54 seconds off track, that's good. I was 21 seconds off my teammate, which is a bit... I just had a horrible strat, and I gave myself my strat, so to be honest, it's my fault, but... I should have listened to my team, because he actually had a decent strat that worked. Okay, so qualifying is ticking down. We have about 5 minutes left. Drivers need to be getting in lap times quick enough to try and challenge for pole. Fastest time right now is a 1:03.4 by a man or person named Roblox Gamer 52241. Araminda is doing balls and it's like not doing well. Alan's just not doing anything.
No, I'm not racing. I'm done with PA, bro.
You're just quitting. Alan's quitting PA.
Maybe. I after the Miami race, I even thought of retiring. I was so shit.
What?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if I'm coping or whatever, but in the 3 races, that was not speed. I don't know. That wasn't speed. It could be speed if he like practiced his ass off, but that wasn't speed racing. That's not speed.
It's Wi-Fi.
He had insane pace. Yeah, it's probably Wi-Fi. I mean, he had insane pace on Czechia in the wets. He was doing constantly 115s while everybody else on the grid was doing 16, 17. So,
that's interesting because the last time when I was in Czechia in the wet with Wi-Fi, he was doing 115s constantly.
Yeah, I'm just saying that's not speed. That's not speed. I know I didn't practice, and I think if I practiced, I would have definitely been on form. But to be honest, I just don't see the point to practice Community Cup. I don't see the point to it. Like, if you are like a person that is trying to get into PA leagues, then yes, practice a lot. But for pros, I don't see a reason why to. I just don't see it.
That's interesting. I should just pull up a little bit of pace in the last few corners and Jackson a lap for good enough for P3 in the order.
Isn't there like a prize pool or some shit for this Community Cup?
Yeah, there is.
Yeah. Is there anything big?
I don't know. I don't know if it's not, it doesn't seem to be like a huge prize pool.
Yeah, I don't think so. I heard it was like 60% to new drivers and 40% for pros, but never announced a specific amount.
No, they never did.
Never did, yeah,
okay. Yushi's spoiled the party and put in a lap for P2, but it's still not good. Why is that? Is Yushi washed? He says there's a Yushi watching the builder. So, driving across the line, Ollie's over. Yeah. Where's A350, bro?
Right, I'm gonna take a little break from all of this.
I'm by myself and I will be gone. So Beast, you have to find some sort of alternative. Very soon. You got 20 minutes to find an alternative. Basically, you have to race. Have piled in, and it's time to line up. This is a short track. That's all I'm gonna say. Here we go. Watch for the light. Then that's around half 9. 2, 3, 4, 5. Red light. We're away. Very quickly, very promptly. That's refreshing. I'm up to second lap for this range. Usually, Tommy will start. I'm down to 6. Alright. I'm gonna go out to the race and start commentating. Because I'm a sort of commentator, alright. So Irma leads. Erman in the house. leads from Andrei Javorsky, but Yushi's managed to get the position for P2. Racing is now P4, Certified Sati is P4. Roblox Game of Fight 241, P6. But is leading to Yushi. Yushi's gaining, but this 25 cars have a large top speed advantage compared to any other car, which means that the DRS is only going to help T car compete limit or possibly pull his time. So, coming to the end of Sector 2, it is still McLaren leading to the Red Bull P1 era, and then to another McLaren, and then to a Sauber. But that doesn't matter. The Sauber just happens to be there. Five tenths is the gap. May open, may close. Yushi still currently gaining to Irma. Andre still keeping a little bit of a fight in it. Still keeping his nose in the fight. And Racing still keeping up nicely behind, just about a second behind, so not exactly in the battle. But he's waiting to pounce any of them making a wrong step, wrong footing. And he'll be ahead up into the podium positions. Left himself in quite a decent position, but again he is losing more and more time as the laps continue. So, can he keep this position? Is still leading, but it's close between him and Yushi. It's not even clear who will come out. Looks to be Irma, just about keeping the lead by the end of lap 4. Yushi lost a decent amount of time in that last sector. It's 3:10. Oh, that's Andre. I think he got a corner cut penalty, and Racing has managed to steam up in 3. Currently, as the order stands, it was McLaren, Red Bull, Sauber. Armenda is managing to keep ahead, but Yushi is gaining. Regardless of the fact that his car is but he's got a corner cut. Yushi's got a corner cut, and the McLaren leading this race is going to be able to take that advantage and run with it. As Racing's managed to get close to Yushi, but not anywhere near enough to even combat the penalty which Yushi just got. So Racing putting himself in a fantastic position to benefit from penalties, but there's not enough pace overall. Armanda manages to keep out ahead. 1-2-4 currently in the last lap. But keeping it ahead, throwing the car into the corners, just keeping the car all on the track as much as he possibly can. Nice lead for him. It's also interesting to see how close the field is, because you've got Dogo in P5, he's only 11 seconds off the lead. Sazi, he's only 11 seconds off the lead. Roblox is 7 seconds. And I'll just say, Gotaras, he's also going to do a fantastic job, because he's only 30 seconds down in a car with a gigantic top speed deficit. Yes, in that middle sector after going straight, he'll be extremely strong and be able to just throw it and gain as much as it, but it's literally just 2 sectors where you'd benefit from it. The first sector is almost flat out, 1 braking zone. And second sector again, you'll benefit slightly, but not overall. And the middle sectors are still 2 seconds down on what's considered the best. 1 second down on race pace, so it's still really very interesting comparison. But what is that? Yuki's managed to get into the lead past Irma. I don't know if Irma would have managed to get a corner cut. I think it did. And Yushi is right there and ahead, but he's in a slower car on slower tyres. So obviously it's not exactly going to be completely clear on who is able to win out in this one. But it seems that Yushi could just try and keep the idea of the car better in the corners and able to brake later. But Irma has a car so so fantastic in the top speed range. They should be able to do absolutely everything. Through the last sort of blank corner, through the flax curve, and it's still Yushi out there leading, but only just. Irma, no! Irma's ahead by less than 10th of a second. Irma is able to take the lead and is going to be extending that lead because he has such a top speed advantage compared to Yushi. I think at the end of this first sector, I don't think Yushi's going to even get the DRS on him. So Irma is just going to pull away even more, and even more. Bravo sits going up. Which is better, BM or McLaren? You know they're the same car, you know. Yeah, we know that BM Racing is a McLaren car. Regardless of that, Yushi's making moves. He's trying to go and get past Irma. May be the tyre wear just getting a little bit, but they're extremely close to the match. Still a 10th of a second. Yushi's going to benefit through this very last sector. He has a car that handles better, can brake slower, can brake later, sorry. And he has significant tyre offset to Irma, but Irma is going to benefit hugely down the top speed areas of the track, oriented in Sector 1 and parts of Sector 2. He's going to be able to go flat out through his first corner and try and be able to brake a little bit later than Yushi into this first corner. This is going to be very, very close, but Irma is going to seem to just about... It's too close to judge. It's 37 laps per second. It could just be vision lag. Could be anything like that. As they come to lap, wow, these front runners have had some amazing pace. But it seems like it is Amanda just leading out there. Of course, the sector don't wait update as soon as possible, but it looks like Yushi trying to push the track length as much as possible. But Amanda is just keeping ahead. It's half a second now to Yushi. Ideally, Armin is going to try and get DRS on this BMW, but he's passed him. So it seems that while lapping a back marker, opportunities have not been seized, at least by the McLaren driver. So through the first DRS zone, nothing. Yushi also nothing, but racing, he's brought himself right back into play, and he manages to get DRS, and he should be able to catch even closer. And that's Yushi with a slowdown as well, so I think it is at least. Racing is up to P2 if we ignore the leaderboard because it's so slow at changing. This puts Armin and an amazing point to just go and steal the win under A1 nose. No one thought that this driver would even be a considerable threat, but fantastic win, fantastic leading skills. And it looks like Yushi just falling foul to Paul McCart's at the last lap. So, here we go, through the last corners, and now, leading to the line, through the Flax curve, McLaren driver is able to take the checkered flag first. Roman in the house takes the checkered flag first in Hockenheim. Racing takes the flag second. Fantastic drive from him, keeping himself in play all the time, and Yushi also a really good drive in a car which doesn't have the exact performance that you'd expect to be able to perform that well. 4th place Andre, 5th place Dogo, 6th place Stroblock, 7th place Sazi, 8th place Wesley, 9th place Gotthars. A very sad thing from that, because again, it looked to be a really good performance from him before Roberts decided to continue on his way. Amanda down in 10th. Really good race for all of these guys. Yeah, I'll just say that is it was entertaining, remotely at least. And an unexpected winner, because you'd normally expect Yushi to just show up and flex all of his feathers and drive off into the distance, but obviously not. I think it's shown that drivers can take the fight to some of the more experienced drivers, and others who may not be as experienced as before also just really being able to do very well. You have 8 minutes to find someone else to commentate the stream, because I'm going to go in 8 minutes. Do what you want in that time, but I know that it's going to be a bit of a boring stream if you have no. I recommend you try and get Jay-Z or something like that. Next track. I think a track that would do fantastically would be Zandvoort. I'm just going to say that. I think you should all go and vote Zandvoort, because it's a fantastic track with fantastic racing. Mexico is like my favorite track, and Miami as well is a really fun track to go and do, but Zandvoort does something that other tracks can't do anywhere near well, which is randomness. Next track, Miami. Interesting. So, 43% of the vote goes to Miami. So let's have a look at what it's going to deliver. I think we should be spiced up with a little bit more weather. Who knows? Right. Let's see. We've got a few drivers in the 2021 class. Yushi in the Ferrari, Matt also in the Ferrari, but I think that's let's see who else. I'm trying to see. Gotthard is also in there, and Wesley also in the car. It's been a popular choice around here in Miami. It's not specifically a fantastic car around here. The 2025 cars tend to be exceptionally quick. Not the 2020 cars. We've got some 2025 cars, some 2021 cars. So, who knows what we'll be able to see. Well, I know that what we'll be able to see is a comparison between, I don't have any lap records for the 2021 cars around my alley, but we do need to know that it'll probably be about a second or so quicker in overall pace. So we'll have a see if those less notable people in the 2025 cars are able to go and beat out drivers in the 2021 cars who are a bit more notable, like Matt and like Yushi. I'll just mention as well, we have Anson here too, Anson in the Phantom as well. That's interesting. Qualifying has 7 minutes left on the clock. And the driver currently leading is Roblox Gamer 52241. I think we have to notice that Matt did get a personal sector 1, but it's not been good enough. But we do have Andre, and Andre has set a time pretty much on par with Matt's sector 1. So let's have a look through this sector 2. He's got it very, very good. Breaking down to the nice zone, just trying to keep it not too tight, but not too wide, and that's very, very good. Keeping it wide around there. Bumping it slightly over there. Oh, I think that's a cut, and I think that's the qualifying lap over. After a 28.8. But Matt is on a flyer, even quicker flyer than what we're seeing Andre on. So, braking zone seems a little bit early to be honest, but obviously he's got his own particular lines. Matt is very experienced in these 2020 cars. He likes them a lot. They're a lot more stable, they have a lot more downforce, but they're not as quick in a straight line. That seems to be clean, and it is. It's 28.3 in sector 2. Not as quick as we've seen before, but still a very good time in these cars with not as much top speed. To the end of the lap, he's going to have to nail this braking zone as much as he possibly can, and it seems like he possibly did. But he seems to just about cut the corner. To the line, there's Matt put the car. Cutting all the way to the line. It's pole, it's a 1.20. It's fantastic time in these cars. Which is, as much as action that we've got in the qualifying session, I mean, we've got some drivers saying some fantastic times around here. Yushi's going relatively well, but not anywhere near as well as Matt. I have to leave. So, I hope that you've sorted out a replacement for me for the rest of the stream. But I will just say to all of you viewers, keep your eyes out on Yushi, keep your eyes out on Andre, keep your eyes out on racing, and keep your eyes out on Matt. I've been a couple of your commentator for about 45 minutes of the stream. Normally I'm able to do longer, but it's not a good night for me to do that. Thank you for listening to me yapper on for a decent amount of time, and goodbye.
I'll cook up the whole field boost. Trust me on that. Andre to your pole time. So it's not really quick one. She crosses the line with a 123.4.